Hello everyone, Jonathan Alfonso. Thank you for clicking on our YouTube channel and our video. If I could ask you for a favor, if you could smash that like and subscribe button down below, it really helps us with the YouTube algorithm, helps us growing our user base and getting our message out there to as many people as possible. Now today, what I want to talk to you guys about is everything that happened with Robinhood last week. Now, I know some of you are asking yourselves, what does this have to do with real estate? Bear with me. By the end of this video, it's going to make sense. Because what I really want to explain is a lot of people are upset at Robinhood right now because they're saying, how could you use our information against us? But what a lot of people don't realize, and this is how it ties back into real estate, which got me thinking last week, is how everything that happened with Robinhood happens in other areas. So every day, for example, in real estate, there are companies that are trying to use your information and make money off of you. And most buyers and sellers have no idea that it's going on. Really quick, for those of you that weren't paying attention last week, I'm going to try to give you a 1-minute primer. Basically, what ended up happening is a bunch of people on the internet use an app called Robinhood to buy and sell stocks every day. Now, Robinhood has always positioned itself as democratizing stock trading. Their premise, you can buy and sell stocks for free. Well, the reality is most users, myself included, because I have an account with money in there, thought, well, they probably make, some money off advertising, maybe off the money that's in the accounts when they gain a little interest. But one thing that came out last week is some people are alleging that Robinhood, when it places trades on your behalf, uses certain companies. Now, those companies pay Robinhood for that information. Apparently, some people say Robinhood makes 10 times as much as other people for passing on trades to certain major funds, right? What is coming up is apparently these funds then use that information to trade. Now, how did this all come to light? It appears last week Robinhood stopped trading on certain stocks because it appeared that certain hedge funds were losing a lot of money. Now, I have to give this a primer. All of these are the allegations. A lot of it looks very fishy, but I started to realize how everybody was up in arms. Like, I can't believe you used my information to make money off of me without telling me. And then I started to think about, where else have I seen this? In real estate. See, every day, and right now, I know some people are going to say, well, you're picking on Zillow. And I'm not really picking on Zillow because Zillow is just the largest real estate website. They have, from my understanding, 2, if not 3 times as much traffic as the other websites. But the other websites are just as guilty. Just Zillow is the largest one. And thereby, I'm gonna mention Zillow the most. How did we get here, right? Well, first, how did Zillow get all this traffic, right? You have to understand Zillow, for quite some time now, has been very innovative in the real estate space. First of all, they were the first ones to give you an estimate of your value. See, prior to Zillow and websites and everything, if you wanted to find out what your home was worth, you had to sit with a real estate professional. They would go over all the comparables, which, by the way, is no different than today. It's just you had no alternative to that. And you would have to go through this whole process, and it was time consuming, right? Which it still is to this day. Just Zillow offered an alternative, which they called the Zestimate, right? Now you could click, go online, view your property, and there it is, a number that tells you the Zestimate, right? Zillow's estimate of what the property is worth. Now, the interesting thing is the average consumer thinks, oh, this is what my property is worth. This is what Zillow says it's worth. At the end of the day, it's just a computer, and don't get me wrong, computers are very smart and they can be trained to do a lot of things, but it's the computer grabbing all the houses around it, doing some calculations, and spitting out a number. But when you look at these numbers, on average, that number is off by 5 to 10%. A home seller at a $500,000 price point would be upset that a 10% difference happened and they were losing $50,000. In fact, it's all over the news. You can Google it. Even their CEO back in, I believe in 2016, he sold his property for $1,050,000 when the Zestimate had his property at $1,500,000. That's like a 33% reduction, right? Now, fast forward to 2020, it happened to him again. His house had his estimate of $19 million, but he listed it for $24 million. So what's it worth? What are the numbers? It makes no sense. Anyways, Zillow capitalizes and it understands what users want, right? And over the years, Zillow has entered into very lucrative agreements. It's gotten most of the MLSs in the country to give it all the listing data, and Zillow now has all the information. They package it in a beautiful website. They give you alerts. They give you ways to save it. And I'm not going to lie. I have it myself. I use it all the time. Most of the people, when they're sending me properties, people will send them on Zillow because the interface is nice. What it does is it looks at a zip code or an area, right? And it determines what's the average sale price, how many leads are going to come in. Then it creates its own calculations and says, we're going to charge X amount for 10, 20, 30% market share. So based on the metrics, that you can pay for however much market share you want, right? So when you click contact agent on the top right, the buyer or seller thinks, oh, I'm contacting the listing agent. In fact, what you're doing is you're contacting Zillow's call center, and Zillow's call center is going to pass that on to one of the agents who pays Zillow. Now, that is the first way that Zillow makes revenue. Now, in some markets, Zillow has another option, which is Zillow Flex, which is they do the same process. When you click contact agent, Zillow is going to put you in touch with one of their agents. Now, if you end up closing that transaction with that agent that Zillow referred you to, that agent is going to pay Zillow a referral fee, which ranges, but my understanding it's around 30, 35%. Now, think about that. You clicked on a link, you thought you were going to talk to the seller, the listing agent, and Zillow made the decision for you and put you in touch with this agent. Now, I fully understand that the person clicking on the link is not, under contractual obligation to use it, but Zillow has now interjected themselves in your situation. So understanding this and knowing the metrics can maybe help you better navigate how to use Zillow. And by the way, there's a bunch of other services out there that they say we've vetted the best agents, etc. They're all doing the same things. They're trying to interject themselves in the middle because they're trying to do a very simple task. They're trying to get data aggregation of people that are thinking about buying, and they're selling that information to real estate agents. All right? It's as simple as that. Now, the second thing that ends up happening on Zillow is you click on take a tour. Now, take a tour is going to lead a buyer or seller to believe, oh, they're going to have the seller open the property or the listing agent is going to meet me there. No, once again, all Zillow is going to do is once you tell Zillow what time you want to review it, they're going to call agents in the area that are paying Zillow and they're going to say, hey, can you view the property at Tuesday at 10 a.m., which is what buyer has just requested. And then they give you the buyer's information and the agent has to contact them. So it's very important because, a lot of times what ends up happening is, the buyers think that they are contacting the people that are selling the property or the people that are in control. And in fact, what has happened is buyers have now opened themselves into a wormhole where they're talking to a whole new slew of people that are now trying to get buyer to use them in the transaction. Now, I'm not saying that these agents that are using Zillow are in the wrong. In fact, I've paid for Zillow leads. I know plenty of people that pay for Zillow leads. The important thing here is for buyers to understand when you click on that contact agent or you click on take a tour, you're now giving that information to Zillow, who is now giving it to agents who are now trying to market to you. Now, the reality is that, some people will say like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or like the agents that do this are I can't believe the agents that are doing this and, they're trying to interject themselves. The reality is this is just the way business is done. If you want to be able to get more real estate transactions done, for some people, Zillow is one of the mechanisms because Zillow controls the traffic. So it's almost one of these things where you have to pay them because a lot of buyers are going through the portal. But it's important if you're a buyer how to navigate this system because when you click on these links, you've now entered yourself into your information, given it to Zillow, and Zillow now has the right to provide this information to all these agents. Where it gets tricky is some of the agents that are on the platform are amazing agents. They do really well. They're honest. They're reputable. They're going to explain to you how the process works. But some of these agents, they want to capitalize on the fact that you have no idea what's going on, and they may mislead you. So instead of you having gone through the process of researching, reviewing your agent, you've now, for some buyers, they're meeting someone at the property who isn't even the agent. And having gone and as a listing agent and done some listings, you can always tell when there's an awkward dynamic where buyer is meeting someone at the property and it's not really their agent because you can just tell by their chemistry. It just looks like a bad date. All right. So that's something that people need to keep in mind. Now, another thing that Zillow does, another way that Zillow gets your information is they have their instant offers program, right? Where Zillow says, we're going to buy your home. Same thing happens. When you give Zillow your information, a lot of times Zillow is going to turn around and say, oh, we're not buying this home. But guess what? In those terms, you've probably given away your right. And now they're getting that information and passing it on to agents saying, hey, by the way, here's somebody who may be thinking about selling their home. And we enter into the same wormhole. You didn't get an offer from Zillow, but now you're getting a bunch of offers from people to list your home. I want people to understand this because, when I saw everything that was going on with Robinhood and how I saw how everyone was so upset, it amazes me because so many people every day, I see them going online and they want to try to bypass the whole system. So they'll end up on a site, and Zillow's not the only one. Realtor.com does the same thing. Realtor.com, when you click on a property and you say you want to see it, they send you to a platform called OpCity where they pass those leads on. I've seen some other websites, and I can't remember all the names right now. I think one of them is called Ideal Agent, that they advertise a lot. I see a lot of their commercials on TV. They're trying to get your information, and they say they're going to pair you up with the best possible agent. Here's the reality on that best possible agent scenario, right? A lot of times when you enter through these portals, and even, the really good agents that are on them, that have good teams, that are top producing, there's so much data that's coming through there. And here's the thing is, when I say data, I mean customers filling out applications. I like to refer to people I work with as customers or clients. Here's another industry tidbit. You're really just called a lead to everybody else. You're a potential lead for a sale. And so what ends up happening is when you fill out your information on Zillow, Realtor.com, which passes it on to OpCity, Ideal Agent, whatever these websites are, what they're doing is when they pass that information on to these agents, most of these agents know that there's so much volume going through, they can't tend to it. So what ends up happening, they have people on their team that are now vetting you. So you're going to go from Zillow's call center to a top agent's call center to then an agent on their team who's supposed to vet you. And then maybe you'll get to the top agent. So you're going to have to go through all these layers. And the reality is right now, as I'm recording this video, it's Sunday, January 31st. Things are moving so fast that by the time you move through that whole process, you're not going to be able to get the home that you originally clicked, I want to take a tour for, because that home is probably going to be gone off the market. So I wanted to make this video because with everything going on and people acting upset, I think it's time that, my users, everybody that is watching this video, understands when I'm clicking on these real estate websites, what are they doing with your information? I think the more you understand that, the more you're able to better prepare yourself, the more you're able to get yourself ready to, buy or sell a home, and make sure that you're not entering down a path that maybe you weren't looking for, because maybe you were just clicking around and you wanted some more information and you inadvertently now have opened yourself up to having to have conversations with numerous people that you weren't expecting. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much. And please remember, click that like and subscribe button below.